at Insights Live. I'm Rebecca Selby, and right now I have the pleasure of sitting down with Wang, founder of Constellation Research. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thanks. Thank you for coming. We're at Insights. What do you think so far?
A lot of energy. I think people are really excited with the new CEO. I think people are excited to see what's going on with 10. I think people have been waiting for a little bit, and a lot of action on the retail side.
So speaking of action, what would you say is changing business now? What technology is changing business?
We went through this internet era, right, where we said, oh my God, everything's going to be on e-commerce, it's going to be the internet. And then we went this little social area, we went a little detour. And then along the way was mobile, cloud, big data, analytics, video, and UC. And these are the pillars of digital business. And what people don't realize is that it's not just mobile on its own, and it's not just social on its own, it's not just cloud. What's happening is it's the convergence, right? You're looking at how they take mobile and cloud. Like people are taking stuff out of their mainframe and putting it onto mobile. People are looking at the cloud and saying, how can I deploy on social? People are looking at analytics and trying to figure out, can I take it on a device? Can I get there out in the field and service something? And that's really what this big shift is. We're moving into digital. And I think we heard this a couple of times during the keynote, but the digital business disruption is here. And it's not just on the technology, it's happening in business models, it's happening in the culture and the DNA, and so we're saying that right now.
So how are enterprises responding?
Poorly.
That's not what we want to hear,
right,
but there's opportunity there.
No, but there's lots of opportunities. Now, the reason, and I think you remember hearing like both John and Joe talk about the pace of change. Mm-hmm. And it's massive pace of change. Since 2000, 52% of the Fortune 500 have been gone. They've been merged, they've been acquired, they've fallen off the list, they've gone bankrupt.
Uh-oh.
And prior to that, the Fortune 500 was started in 1955. Mm-hmm. Right? It was only 83% that had turned since 1955. Most of this acceleration happened in 2000 and on, and that's the 53. So half of the Fortune 500 turning, we're seeing that because of those technology factors, but also because of business models, right? We compete, right? And we're like, okay, we're gonna compete on a better product, we're gonna compete on being more effective in cost, we're gonna compete on all these factors. We've got companies that are sitting in Sri Lanka that can take a fashion, anything off the fashion runway Milan, make a knockoff, ship it to a retailer in 6 days.
Better, smarter, faster.
Faster, better, cheaper, smarter. That's what's happening. And it's happening because not only of digital technologies, it's also happening because their business models are changing.
Mm-hmm. So with Epicor ERP version 10, we have social capabilities now. What should companies be doing to take advantage of that?
Well, that's a great example, right? People need to look at social. It's not Facebook, it's not Twitter, it's not LinkedIn. What we're really trying to do is improve speed of communication, right? So I've got a purchase order, and instead of picking up the phone or sending a fax or trying to find someone with an answer, I take advantage of social and I ask a question and I get within the company network. Let's say I'm trying to figure out what's production run look like, and I'm trying to figure out demand planning, and I'm trying to figure out if a bill's being paid and why suppliers not getting back to me. That's where social comes into play. This is not an abstract thing. This is not Facebook. This is not something that you're thinking the consumer. We're changing the way we communicate. Right? We're changing the way we interact. So the traditional ways are create and read and update and delete. Now it's like share or like or poll or reach out to someone, right? That's a very different thing than what we're doing before.
So you see a lot of different companies and how they're using social. Can you give me an example of how it's really benefiting these companies to grab onto social collaboration? Yeah,
different ways. So a great example here is one that, just even simple things on, I need a skill set. I'm looking for a certain type, like you're putting a project team together. And you don't know exactly who's got a skill in a language,
right,
who's got a skill that might be like an expertise in architecture, an expertise in beer manufacturing, right, an expertise in distribution. I need a team, right? So where do I go? I don't look in HR, I don't look in Active Directory, I'm not gonna find that. I just pull out and say, look, special team, special project, put in social, see who comes back and reacts. Wow, that's gonna take me 10 minutes to get a response versus me searching for like 2-3 days or asking people along the line. So what we're talking about is better collaboration across different departments, and it's actually more team-oriented this way.
It sounds like it's working. So if that's working, then tell me, what are the most disruptive technologies right now?
Well, they're coming from those intersections of mobile and cloud or big data and analytics. Think about wearables right now, right? So everyone's got a Fitbit, everybody has some kind of device that's calculating. Well, that's just the beginning of this, right? We're thinking about things like augmented reality, where I can go and, for example, I can look and go take a picture of this plant, and this plant will come back and say, hey, here's the type of plant, here's the way it gets watered, I can figure out the leaves. Like, we're putting information onto images that we couldn't do before. We talked about 3D printing, I believe, earlier in the keynotes. 3D printing's disruptive. It's kind of cool because the manufacturing is like happening right in front of you. It's the closest thing to a replicator you can if you were going down the Star Trek route.
Right.
But it's not just that. It's when you tie it to a business model. Imagine if Amazon, which has 50 distribution centers or more that they're building around the world, suddenly decided that they're going to be the 3D printing operator. You're not manufacturing anymore. You're basically building designs, you're getting them to Amazon so they show up in your door in 4 hours. It's a very different game, right?
And that's probably happening.
It might happen in 3 to 5 years. It's something that could be in the back of your mind. So what happens to your business? I don't build big manufacturing plants anymore. I don't do short runs. I might have 3D printers available for folks that are experts or people building designs and molds, but when I'm doing mass scale and I want to drop something somewhere else, we're just a design company, right? And that changes the way you think about what you do.
So you're basically saying that this technology that's coming into the workforce, whether people want it or not, are changing the way they do business and the type of business that they do.
This is a digital transformation. It's changing not only how people have to work, it's changing the type of business models you're in, and it's really taking advantage of these technologies to create brand new ideas. Think about the same thing, like POS in a retail store, right? Why am, they're going to kill me, the partners, but why am I using a device? Yes, because it's secure, it's PCI compliant, I get it. But I want to take your tablet, I want to put a sled, and I want to slide and be done, right? I'm going to run everything off this. I don't need a separate POS system anymore. Now, there may be reasons and cases where I do, but for the majority of folks, I might not need that anymore. And that's disruptive. Think about a bank. A bank doesn't need tellers anymore. I could actually set up a pop-up bank in a supermarket.
You could.
Right? I just need to scan a picture, take your check, deposit it right there, and give you a receipt. I'll email you the receipt. I'm not even going to touch any paper. Right? That's the type of business model transformation we're seeing.
All right, what advice would you give to customers who are maybe slow on picking up new technology?
I think it's really important. Actually, you don't want to pick up every technology you have. And part of strategy is remembering making the decision not to do something.
Right.
So there's a lot of technologies that might not be right for your business or right for your customers. So I think spend some time and understand what's out there and try to figure out, is that going to change your business model? Do you have to catch up? Is that something that you have to do? Is that something that you need to do?
Right.
Right? And is that something, if you don't do, you're going to go bankrupt? Right?
Yes, I want to jump on the ladder, I assume, for sure. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions about what we've talked about today, please visit epicor.com.